Right, I'm going to start again by way of a short introduction. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Melanie Goodman. I'm originally a solicitor by profession, and after 8 years as a director of a firm dealing with their social media and business development, I started up my own company, Trebizond, 2.5 years ago. We specialize in client generation and training using the LinkedIn platform, but without using paid ads. So we basically both teach our clients how to get a better reach on LinkedIn and generate business through the platform. We also manage clients' LinkedIn accounts and do all the lead generation for them. Now, the structure of my talks are usually more of a workshop. So if I'm going too fast, let me know. And I know that some of you are novices and some of you are experts, but I'm going to work through my profile and you can work through yours at the same time. So let's start, and we're going to start with the headline. Now I'm actually going to share my screen. What we're going to do is we're going to work through each section of my profile, and I'm going to show you in that way how you can optimize your profile to be found on LinkedIn. Now, we're going to start here. I'm just going to move this down. Right, we're going to start here with your name and your headline, because this is obviously the most important part of the LinkedIn profile. So this is where you need to put your role. Put in your current role. You'd be surprised how many people put in previous roles in here. I would always suggest not to use emojis. You want to try and keep it as professional as possible, even though you'll see people putting in like coffee cups and other things in here. Always keep it clean and keep it professional. So here you put in your role, put in your industry. You can see here that I've put in digital marketing. Now the key here is to use a formula. We use a particular formula here, which is that we tell people how we're helping them and what the result is from us working with them. So, for example, you can see here that I've put assisting finance professionals increase their visibility and generate leads. What I would suggest is, for example, you might put, if you were in video marketing, you might put helping corporates achieve greater visibility and attract inbound leads through effective cloud-based video marketing solutions, or words to that effect. The idea though is that you use this formula that says who you help and the result that they get. Now, other items that you can include in here are awards and accolades that you might have been given. For example, if you're an editor, or if you've been, for example, voted number 7 in Forbes or something along those lines, you want to put that in this area here. But what's really key is that you use words that people will be searching for. And these are known as your keywords. So you can see that I've put in visibility, generate leads, digital marketing. These are all things that people would be searching for. Some people actually include their URL in here, which is this, to make it even easier for people to find them. That's really a matter of personal preference if you want to. I've also seen a lot of people add a mission statement, which depends on really on your personality, because you want it to reflect your personality. So for example, you might put on something like B2B growth specialist on a mission to close the digital knowledge gap. So that's the sort of that's the sort of strap line that you can use in here. Basically, you want to grab people's attention, but I'd steer clear of buzzwords like influencer and entrepreneur, because to be quite honest, they're a bit overdone now. Now, my top tip here is to edit this section from your iPhone, because if you use your iPhone, you get up to 200 characters, whereas if you use the LinkedIn desktop, you only get 120, which is why lots of people always say to me, how did you get so much in here? And it's because I used my iPhone. Really, there's no right or wrong here. It's just a case of personal preference of how, you know, what you want to include in the section, so long as you include these keywords that people are going to search for. Now I'm going to move on to the contact information, because obviously the reason that most people are here is that they want, so that they want you, they want to contact you, so that's what you want from them. So you'll see here, we go to the pencil icon. Now, here is where lots of people fall down. In this section, they put company, and that gives you no description. So what you want to actually put in here with your URL is other. And other gives you this option, which I'm just going to do for you now so you can see it, to type keywords that you want to be found for. And this is another section which is search engine optimized by Google. So we'll just save that. Right. Okay. So you should now have your contact information completely up to date. Now you'll see under here, there is an option to now put providing services. Now, not everybody will have this rolled out to them yet. So you may find that you don't have this option. Now to add it, you go to add profile section, scroll down to intro, and it will be here if you have it. I haven't got it because you can see I've already added it to my profile. And this is where you put in the key services that you offer. You can also add that you're looking for a job or that you're open to opportunities. Again, you might not have this rolled out to you yet. So don't panic if you can't find this area. Right, we're now going to go up to edit public profile and URL. Now this is another area which is search engine optimized by Google and by LinkedIn. So it's really important that you fill this out with keywords. Those again are the words that you're likely to be found for and that people will be searching for. So you can see here, you can edit it by pressing on the pencil icon, and you can see that I've put in keywords, financial marketing. I'm just going to stop for a second for those of you who are, I know some people will be doing this online as I speak. Now we're going to move down to edit visibility. Now, it's really important that your profile's public visibility is switched to on, and that you've put in public, because this then means that you will be listed by Google in searches, Bing, as you can see, and obviously LinkedIn. Now, I don't think that unless you have a real reason not to, it's important to have everything showing. I know some people maybe want to hide their education, etc. So again, matter of personal preference, but unless you have a reason not to, I would always suggest that you show everything in this section. Now we'll go back to LinkedIn now. We're going to go back to me and to view my profile. And we're going to just work our way down here to the About section. Now, this is obviously a key area in your profile. And it's really where you can get those keywords in, but don't stuff them so it looks silly. Just use it sensibly. I always suggest splitting the summary section into very easy to read paragraphs. You can start with a quote, or again, a mission statement. You can see that I've done that. Really the key here is to think about who you want to attract and who is your ideal client. So you can see if you expand the section like this by clicking on this little area here. Lots of people don't know that you can actually do that. So if we just do that. Now, I'll just give you a second for those of you who haven't actually read my profile ever. You can see that I've got a number of questions. Now, the reason for this is that you want to latch on to how your audience is feeling. So for example, I have added questions such as, are you a senior executive operating in financial services? And the idea is that a lot of people who come to your profile will answer yes to the questions. So you want to really think about how you are forming these questions. So do you feel frustrated? Basically think about the biggest problem that your ideal client has or that your service solves. Think about what results they would be looking for and that they would really desire from working with you. So for example, would you like X, Y, and Z to happen? Or would you like to be secure in your knowledge about that your child's future is provided for? Or if you were in website design, would you like to have a standout website to attract new clients? So I'm just looking at the questions. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to slow down. I've been told that I'm going a little too fast. Right, okay, so for those of you who are editing as we go along, you can see, to go over again, and you can see here that I've used keywords such as expert lead generation techniques, increase your reputation. So you need to use your keywords and latch on to how your audience is feeling. Now you can see that I've split it into paragraphs. So you need to say who you are, why you do what you do, your experience, and why you personally. Why do these people want to work with you and not with somebody else? So as you're writing this section, use as many keywords as you can, as I said, without making it sound silly. You can also add details of your top clients or former clients if you are permitted to, and they don't mind. It's often really good for social proof, so people can see who you've worked with, and you know, it builds trust in you. So when you've written it, you really need to ask yourself, is the first sentence engaging? And is this written how you would actually speak? And of course, big drum roll, the call to action. So I'm going to go down here. As you can see, I've included one testimonial because there isn't any more room. You're limited with characters again in this section. And you can see here, this is the call to action. Now, a lot of people say, well, why do I need to put that in? Because there's already a contact section. But the idea is that you're making it as easy as possible for people to reach you. You'll find otherwise that although they can go onto the contact information section, if they literally have your telephone number in front of them, they're far more likely to just spontaneously pick up the phone. So I always suggest for clients that they have in their contact information here, and you'll notice that I've actually put in the URL to schedule a call with me. Now you'll see that that's actually not clickable because LinkedIn don't allow that. But again, someone can just copy and paste it, and I'm making it very easy for people to contact me. Now, another question that often comes up when I've done these webinars before is, how am I editing this? Because when you try and edit generally in LinkedIn, you'll find that they don't allow you to. You can't change fonts or do anything fancy like that at all. So the way that I do this is I actually use a different website called Fancy Text Generator, and anybody who wants the link to that, I can send it to them after the webinar. But it's a really great website, and what it does is it allows you as well to edit LinkedIn posts, so you can, they make your posts stand out better. And again, it will help you be seen above your competitors. So I hope everybody is with me. I'll just give people a chance if they're editing as we're going through this. I'm just going to discard the changes. Right, now you'll see this is the featured section. Now this is a new section which was introduced just a couple of months ago by LinkedIn. And it's a really key section because it means that people don't have to even go down to the bottom of your profile, for example, to see your testimonials. You can actually put them here. So for example, what I suggest is that if you've got, if people have left you recommendations on LinkedIn, which we'll talk a bit about in a minute, or you've got testimonials, for example, from Trustpilot or any of those other sites, I would have them made into an image, or make them yourself into an image using a design tool like Canva. And then you can feature them here. So if I press on the plus section, you can see that you can add media, links, articles, and posts. Now, I'm just going to talk you through this. So you can see here that I can feature my recent posts if I want to. And the way that I would do this is by pressing on the star. When I've done that, oh, sorry, let me just see. Okay. I'll answer the other questions at the end. I'm hoping my notifications have now stopped. Sorry, so I apologize for that. Right, so in this featured section, you can put your posts. So for example, it's usually the best idea is to put posts that you know have done very well on here, and people, you can just scroll across like this. You can edit it by pressing on the pencil. Now you see, you might have noticed these horizontal lines, And this is so that you can move things up and down in order of importance. So for example, if I decide this week I want to focus on this PDF that I produced, I will move it to the top, but I don't, so I'm going to move it back down again. But this is a really key section, and you should, if you're not using it already, I would really recommend that you start using that. Now, I'm going to go down to the experience section. Now, this is obviously a key section for everybody here and for your audience when they come and visit your profile. Now, as I'm going to show you how to edit it, so you can see that I've added in lots of different experiences. If you press on the pencil icon, now this is really key. While you are editing your experience section, you must have this switched off, which is share with network. Because otherwise, when you make even a small change, your whole LinkedIn network is going to be notified. So it's really key that you make sure this is off before you start. Right, now, what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to show you a little trick, which is very useful if you don't use it too often. So I wouldn't suggest you do it more than, say, once every 6 months. But if you are launching a new product or a new service, what you can do is you can set it up as a new experience within your current role. So you can see, for example, here, that my current role is obviously as owner, but when I launched our training course, I added it as like a sub role within my current role. So what you would do is what you would do if you're launching a new service is that you would add a new experience. So here you could say, if you wanted to say you were speaker at etc. But this is key, is that you put your company as your current company still. Don't update your industry. You can write a description if you want to. And now this is key. Now is time to share with your network. So I'm just going to get rid of this because obviously I don't want to share that. So you add in your new service, you share it with your network, and all your network will then be notified in their newsfeed that you have launched a new service. It's really incredibly useful because when you post something on LinkedIn, it doesn't necessarily go to all your connections. You know, not your whole network is going to see it. So it's a really canny way of sort of getting the word out there. Now again, you can move these up and down in order of importance. So for example, you do that to move things down. And that was by hovering over these horizontal lines. I'm just going to check the question to see that everybody is with me. I'm going to move on. There's some questions about privacy settings and I'm going to move on to those later. So hopefully you've all sort of edited so far with me. You can see again, I've added publications, etc. here. When you're adding in your experience section, make sure that when you type the company name, so in this section here, you type the proper company name of the company as it is found on LinkedIn so that you get their logo come up, because nothing looks more unprofessional than the grayed out square. You can add in your education. This is obviously important if you're a professional to add in any licenses, certifications, etc., skills. Now, skills and endorsements. You can see here that LinkedIn, once you get over 99, they just say 99 plus endorsements, regardless of how many you actually have. You can also take a skills quiz now. So if I just show you. Now, it's quite limited, the skills quizzes that they have. So for example, for me, it's not relevant. I'm not involved in any of these, and I suspect for most people on this webinar, it will be the same. But if you do want to take one of those skills quizzes, they can be quite useful and you can add them to your profile. Add a new skill. Now this is really interesting because they will suggest to you skills which they think you might have, and then you just press on them if you do. But you can also add skills which aren't showing up. So I've seen some really bizarre ones added, sort of everything from, well, I saw someone who added drinking as a skill, but I would suggest you keep it sensible, but you can add lots of different skills here. And you can add up to 50, so I'd really try and max it out, so long as it's true and relevant. You need to really think about the top 10 skills here that you really excel at in your role. So if we click on the pencil icon, you can see here that I've got certain ones pinned. Now, you're only allowed by LinkedIn to pin up to 3 key skills. And you'll see again here, LinkedIn are very keen on these horizontal lines, but what they do is they allow you again to move things up and down in order of importance. And these 3 that are pinned to the top are the ones that will show on your profile. Now, adjust endorsement settings. Some people don't even realize that little widget is there, but you want to make sure that you've got these switched to yes so that people can actually contact you and endorse you. I'm just going to give everybody a minute if they are editing as they go. Just to show you again, pencil icon. Here, you can press on the pin to pin and unpin, and here, move things up and down in order of importance. So you might find over time as your roles change, you can see I've got all my legal skills down here, and obviously marketing and LinkedIn up here. Now, we're going to move down to the recommendations. Now, it's really important that as well as receiving, you do actually give some recommendations as well. It's a really good way of just sort of building a relationship and goodwill with people. And they bring you front of mind and gain trust. Here, You click on the pencil icon. You can ask people to revise it if you want to. That's actually a new feature. And you can hide, and these are the ones that you have given. Now you can also request recommendations from people, and the way that you do this is that you go to the person's profile. I'm not going to do it now on screen because I don't want to lose my screen here. And what you do is you right click next to their name. There'll be a little button that says more, and you click on that, scroll down, and when you scroll down, you will see that there is a little button that says request recommendation. And you actually have to say, though, how you know the person. So you can only do it with your connections. And it does sort of try and keep it a bit more genuine. So, you know, I always suggest that when you are working with a client, you've been working with them for a while, ask them to leave you a recommendation. Potential clients really do look at these before they hire you. I found that plenty of people don't even realize that this area exists. They haven't really noticed it, but it's really key. So don't underestimate the power of LinkedIn recommendations. Now, here we go down to accomplishments. Put in here any languages that you have, any courses that you've done, projects, scores, test scores. So if you've done some, you know, you've got an extra certificate, etc. for something, you can put it in this area as well. Just to go back, just so that everybody understands how it works, where it says add profile section, you can actually add from here as well. So there's two ways of doing it. And while I'm up here, I am going to show you that you can actually add a profile in another language as well. So for example, say I'm based in Switzerland, I can have another profile in French if I want to. And I've seen that it supports well, a huge number of languages. And it's actually really great if you are reaching out to people in a country, for example, like Switzerland, where they speak there's French and German. It can come in useful. If anybody needs any help with that, they should contact me after this webinar. Now, I'm actually going to give you a really sort of secret hack here. And this is with the background photo and the profile photo. Now, let's just talk for a moment first about your profile photo. I've seen some amazing photos where people have got sunglasses on, they're on the beach, they're at a party. These are not suitable for LinkedIn, as I'm sure hopefully most of you will realize. I would suggest that you have a professional headshot if you can. Otherwise, just shoot one against a white wall in your office. Make sure that your face is obviously visible, head and shoulders, and make sure it's high resolution. Now, the background photo should be, for those of you who are writing this down, the size should be 1584 pixels by 396. Now, I would actually suggest using an external website called Canva if you're designing your own background image, because basically it gives you templates that are perfectly sized and designed for this purpose. So just for those of you who are writing this down, the website is called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. Again, I will check the questions to this afterwards, and I will put the actual website link, I'll make it available or email anybody who wants it. So if everyone's with me so far, I'm now going to tell you how to increase your place in searches using these photos. Now, when you upload the photo from your computer, rename the photo with a keyword. So what I mean is when you upload the file, it'll be called something like, you've probably called it profile photo.jpg. What you want to do is rename that photo with a keyword. So for example, I might rename my profile photo financialmarketing.jpg and or Melanie Goodman financialmarketing.jpg. And what it will do is that it will push you up the search engine. So these are all key ways of search engine optimizing your profile. So just to recap, we edited our URL here for search engines. We're going to edit your profile photo and edit this background banner as well by editing the file name with a keyword that you want to be found for. So for example, if you are a financial advisor, you might want to add the word pensions into that file name. Now, I'm going to go on to settings because I know that there's been some questions asked. I'm just going to bring up the questions. Right, so to get to your settings, you go to the Me, scroll down to settings and privacy. Now, obviously during this webinar, we don't have time to go through all the settings. This is just an introduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the settings which are really key and where most people sort of fall down. And this is this viewers of this profile also viewed. Now, I would say about 90% of the profiles that I look at have this on. So just click on it and turn it to no. Why turn it to no? Because it is sending people to your competitors. So what it means is that when somebody looks at your profile, if you have this switched on, down the right-hand side of the screen will be a list of people that LinkedIn suggests that they go and have a look at as well, which you really don't want. So for example, if you're a wealth manager, somebody comes and looks at your profile, LinkedIn are then going to send them off to look at lots of other wealth managers in different firms. So we really don't want that. So always make sure that that is switched to off. Now we'll just, is everybody with me? Hopefully, I'll just give you guys a chance to edit this if you're doing it in real time. Right. Again, you can see here who can see your email address. I've set mine to anyone on LinkedIn. This is, again, personal preference, really. Some people want to keep it to only people they're connected to. And it really depends on your goal for being on LinkedIn. Who can see your connections? Now, this is a key one. I have it so that only I can see my connections. And often people have clients who are on here and they don't want other people to be able to see. So I would suggest keeping this as only you, but that's my personal opinion. So you might want to edit that yourself. Now, we've already edited our public profile. We did that earlier on so that everybody can see it, including search engines. Who can see your last name? I would normally suggest that everybody. Profile viewing options. This is, you might want to edit as it says whether you have viewed other people's profiles. So whether you want to be sort of anonymous, or they have a weird sort of semi-private mode, which is slightly pointless, where it just shows someone from your industry. Stories hasn't been launched yet in Europe, bizarrely. Now, share job changes and education changes, etc. This is completely up to you. I would normally suggest that you do want to notify connections when you're in the news. And this is really key, is mentions or tags. Now, it's something that actually has been asked in one of the questions, because I've been given lots of questions when people registered. They've sent me questions, which I'm going to work through. So allow others to mention or tag you. I would suggest that this is definitely kept to yes. Now, I'm going to go back to LinkedIn because we're obviously a bit pushed for time here. So I'm going to go back and show you my profile. Now, this is just some more little tips on how to be found and how to search. So you see this little gold LinkedIn. That means that I've got an open profile setting, and I've set that so that which allows you to send free messages to people so that you're not connected to. So it means that other people can send me messages without being connected to me. And you can quickly identify these members, these open members, by the gold LinkedIn icon that appears next to their name. Now, I'm going to show you just for a moment how to search. Now, you can do Boolean searches on LinkedIn. So as with Google, most people have no idea that a LinkedIn search allows the use of modifiers to help you get even more targeted results. So for example, if you want to find an exact phrase, you can also use quotation marks. So I'm just going to show you. So say, for example, I want to search for an IT consultant. I can do this. But to make it even more targeted, put it in inverted commas, and it will then search for the exact phrase. So you'll see that then it brings up a far more targeted search. And you can also then use operators such as and. So if I want to search for an IT consultant who is also experienced in software, just for example's sake, you must always put this in capitals. And you see it's brought up people then who have IT consultant and software in their heading. And this is how you search. You can also use or. If you want to combine the results of two separate search terms. And now you can see that things are getting really interesting. You can actually then, if you want to do some really clever things, you can actually use parentheses as well. So I'm not going to do it here, but I actually have a guide if anybody wants it as to doing Boolean searches. So you can do that, and then you could add on to it. For example, if I want to add into CEO, and there we go. So that should bring me up then CEOs who will also, when you go into their profiles, have IT consultant or software in their profiles. And it's really good when you're searching for a specific, somebody with a specific position within a company. And it also, it allows you to send follow-up messages that are a lot more targeted when you're connecting with people. Now, the key is that you basically, you don't want to just build connections here. You want to actually build relationships. Now, there's quite a few questions that I've already been asked, and so I'm going to try now and work through some of these. So I'm going to stop with the screen sharing. Now, I'm going to put my video back on. Hopefully everybody is with me so far. Right, so we're back, and I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've been asked before. Now, Sid has asked, how far back do you go on experience? I would suggest that if the experience is positive and is going to add to your credibility, add it. I wouldn't suggest going back as far as sort of odd jobs that you did when you were really young, but if they are credible experiences, definitely add them in. Especially if they're, you know, sort of trusted companies, etc. So I would definitely include those. Monica, I'm going to answer you separately afterwards. Yes, there will be a video recording of this sent to you afterwards. Oh, Brian, okay, so can you rename an existing photo, or do I need to reload it? You will need to reload it. So you need to go into your files in your desktop and rename the profile photo and re-upload it. On the right hand side, I get a list of people who viewed other websites, and how do we remove that? Okay, so that again is in your settings. So Una, you need to go into your settings, and I will double check this afterwards, but from memory, it will be in your communication settings, which is the third tab along. Yes, Anthony, you may have my search guide. I will send it to you afterwards. Now, LinkedIn, I'm just going to go through some other questions I've been asked. So LinkedIn suggests that I mention someone in my post to expand its footprint. How do I mention a person and link them so that they and others can notice the mention? So mentioning or tagging a person on LinkedIn is a really great way to get more eyes on your post and boost engagement of the post. So posts that have activity are more successful. They show up longer and more often in people's feeds. So by mentioning a person in a post or even a comment, that person will receive a notification that they were tagged. and the person will then click the notification to see the post, and they'll typically like or comment or share it. And this will prove to LinkedIn that the post is relevant and resonating and deserves to be seen more. So you can mention one person or more than one person in the comment, and it also helps to tag them in the comment, otherwise the person won't see it in their notifications. Now, I also had a question, which is a really good question. How do I choose which LinkedIn groups to join? Right. So, since LinkedIn group conversations and comments are visible to group members only, so the person wants to know how they can judge the value of a LinkedIn group. So they're absolutely right. It's much harder to determine if a LinkedIn group is worth joining now that discussions are hidden. But with that stated, there are things that you can look for to determine if a LinkedIn group will provide value. So when you search for groups to join, on the search results page, you'll see the member and discussion count for each group. So the more members, the more discussions, and the better the chance is that the group is active and interesting. So although you can't see a list of all group members prior to joining, you can see a list of members who are your direct first degree connections. And if you know quite a few people within the group, the odds are that it's going to be a good group to join. And the other thing to keep in mind is that LinkedIn have now raised the group limit from 50 to 100. So you can actually join twice as many groups as before. And 100 is quite a lot of groups. But join a number of different groups, see which ones you like. And quite frankly, you can leave it if the group just seems silly. Now, what's the best way to request to connect with someone? LinkedIn provides a basic message, but it's a good idea to customize your requests. You'll get a much better response rate. Maybe ask them for advice, and keep in touch after meeting, and maybe at a conference after coronavirus is a good way. Now, somebody asked me about merging or closing duplicate accounts. You may discover that you've got more than one LinkedIn account, and if you get a message that says that the email address has already been used, probably means that you've got a duplicate account. And you can change this in the account section of your settings and privacy. So you go back into your settings, the first tab along is accounts, and then you can merge or close the duplicate account. I'm just going to go through the last couple of questions. Can I see my page followers? No, but they're apparently rolling out this feature in the next few months. And if you have Sales Navigator, there is a way of seeing your page followers. And you can do that on the advanced search. So happy to answer that separately. Right, so I really hope that you've learned a lot of things that you didn't know before this morning. And if you'd like to expand on this, you might like to complete our online training course, which you can follow at your own pace. And I really do thank you for joining me today, and enjoy the rest of your week.